Hello, Joe Radis from One Step Technologies. This particular video, we're going to focus with respect to the online marketplace. Now, if you're a jeweler that's considered the idea of taking their store and putting it up there in the cloud, online, virtual, uh, what are the inherent benefits and what are some of the concerns you need to have? I'm going to touch on it. Few of the benefits that you have is one, you're not limited to your showcases and how many SKUs you may be able to put on display. And jewelers sometimes can only put a few hundred items, and every morning they have to put it out, and every evening they have to go back into the vault because the insurance policy dictates such. The online marketplace, there's none of that back and forth. It's always out there virtually. The online marketplace is also not constrained to your business hours. You might be a Tuesday through Saturday type jeweler, or maybe you're 6 days a week, or even fewer exceptions, 7 days a week. The online marketplace is 24/7, 365. Okay, so you can put unlimited SKUs, so you can have entire product lines and all the different variations of earrings, watches, necklaces, you name it. And you can certainly do price point strategies. You can do whatever your ticket ranges you want to be, or sell particular type items. Now, if the online marketplace is new, I always recommend starting small, and you can always scale up. Okay, you don't have to go into this big, and certainly if it's new to you, you don't. Now, what's not new is most of you have the consumer experience of buying online, and what I'm talking about is no different than those major online sellers, e-tailers, like to call themselves. You could have that same consumer experience made available for your jewelry store, and I'll be more than happy to explain that on calls. Now, what's the security about online? Well, one, all the card data is stored within our payment gateway, for example, One Step Gateway. And that is common, period. I don't necessarily just have to advocate my solution. So the payment gateways hold all the card information. From a PCI-N, nothing touches your environment. And within the PCI self-assessment questionnaire, that is answered. And again, you don't actually hold any card information. All you do is get the verification that Joe Radis bought the following item on March 2nd, for example, and you're going to get maybe the last 4 digits of the card number or the last 6, and that's it. Everything else is more or less truncated. And it was a Visa or an Amex, and everything verified out. And that's the real key question here is on the consumer experience. The shopping cart goes to the payment gateway. They hunt in their shipping and billing information, i.e. you're familiar with that. And then they also then have to go into a separate page. It looks like an extension of the online merchant, okay? But the payment gateway is firms like myself that will ask for the payment card data, and we'll validate that against address verification, make sure the billing zip code and the street address number match up. And we can ratchet up the security settings that if they don't, the transaction gets kicked out, okay? So there are verification steps that are taken to ensure the transaction. We also have a third-party firm called ClearSale. We actually hosted a call earlier today talking about their chargeback assurance program, and I'll be more than happy to explain that if any of you are interested. So there are steps we do to ensure that the transaction online is very secure, and actually in many cases sometimes more secure than what a customer has to go through in the in-store market. And what I mean by in-store is, and this is always a great question, how many times do you ask for identification of a consumer? Now, you know your customer, repeat customer, you're not going to ask that. New customer, how many times do you ask for their driver's license to match up to the card? Now, you as the business owner might, but how many times does your clerks do? And how many times as a consumer, when you go out and you present your card, you ask for ID? That's the telltale sign. So the online marketplace actually has inherent steps built in. Now, the consumer doesn't necessarily see any differences, okay? And the transaction validation is done behind the scenes. And it's safe to say that if I'm making this video and right now it's 10:49 in the morning, you get a verification the sale is complete. You're not shipping the item at 10:52 or 11:52. You're waiting for verification details to come in, so you're probably not going to ship that piece of jewelry out until later on today or maybe even tomorrow, which is perfectly permissible as long as you ship it within 2 or 3 days of date of order. That's all the payment card brands ask out of merchants. So there are steps that we do behind the scenes to ensure the transaction is safe and secure. Online marketplace gives you the ability to take your store from wherever you are and make it national if you want. So if you're based here in Atlanta, Georgia, and you want to market to California or North Dakota or Alaska or Florida, you're not constrained to an area code, zip code, state. Again, online marketplace is an awesome way to promote your store. You can do all sorts of promotions, and it could be very turnkey for you. We're not talking about custom websites here. In fact, there's a firm that we work very closely with called Star Gems. Anish Desai, he's here in Atlanta. They're a good source for basically a turnkey operation. Got any questions about online? We'll be more than happy to talk to you about it. Joe from One Step Technologies. And thanks for taking a few minutes to listen to this video.